Hiya, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining. So we've got a bit of a tech video for you today, which a few of you have been asking for, so hopefully you find it useful. Those who have watched my recent video of fishing up on the competition on the Arbroath Cliffs would have realised that I was using a dongle rig. So yeah, this video is just to have a bit of a chat through that, my reasons for changing to it, and yeah, I'll show you how to make one as well. So previously, beforehand, I was just using, your normal pulley pennel rig. So that's one here. So we start off at the weight end. So as a Trident tackle Thermalink. That then goes through to a bead with a Trident tackle aero pulley and another bead. Trident tackle Thermalink onto a power swivel. And then that just goes down to your standard pulley pennel setup with your two hooks on there. So this one is a Varavas 5.0 circle hook on the top as a pennel, and then a Sakuma Mantra 6.0 J hook as the bottom. So that's your standard setup. Now the rig which I've been using recently, exactly the same on the rig body side, it's the hook length which is different. So yeah, start off with your Trident tackle Thermalink at the bottom. That goes up to your bead, Trident tackle aero pulley and a bead, Trident tackle Thermalink onto the power swivel, and then the change is down here on the hook at the bottom of the hook length. So we've got a Varavas 5.0 circle with a bit of braid on the bottom there as the dongle. This also uses what's called a perfection loop. And the reason why you need to use the perfection loop is to allow that circle hook the ability to rotate round and do its job. So yeah, my reasons for changing over to this was the normal pulley rig with your two hooks on. I was getting a lot of gut hooks, which meant that the smaller fish were, well, you just couldn't return them a lot of the time. They were too damaged to be able to return, which is a shame, and I wanted to try and avoid that. So thought move over to this dongle rig, and the idea was that we would hopefully get a lot more hookups into the scissors of the fish, and then our return rate would be much higher. And so far it's proven to be really successful. So yeah, every fish I've caught on it so far, even small coalies which have taken it on some of the sessions I've been out, they have been all perfectly hooked in the scissors, so everything's been able to be returned if I hadn't chosen to keep the fish. So yeah, I'm really impressed with it so far. I've got all the bits here laid out, so we'll go through what's required to build it, and I'll just set one up for you now so you can see how it works. Right, so I was going to try and show you these knots a bit closer up, but with the clear line it's much too hard to see. But anyway, the line I'm using is this ASSO line. This is £80 and I use it on both sides, the rig body and the hook length. Yeah, I just find it works really well. So what I do, start off, take a length of line for the rig body. So I grab the line and I sort of tend to go, about a full arm stretch, just about to where my ear is. So we'll snip that off. Start off by grabbing our Thermalink. And the knots I use for these bits of components is the uni knot. As I say, I was going to try and show you, but it's a bit too hard, so I have to look up another video on YouTube of how to do a uni knot. But yeah, I just wrap this round here 4 times. It's a bit too thick a line to get any more wraps than that, and I find 4 holds perfectly well. So 3, and try and get one more around there. There we go. And then so just pull that initial bit of the knot there down, which is just up by my thumb. And then lubricate it. And just pull it down tight. And that's a really, really nice secure knot, the uni knot, really easy to tie as well once you get used to it. So then snip the tag end off. And then once we've done that, we're going to go on with one of the little black beads. Let's see the hole through the middle. Eyesight's not very good tonight. And then these, which have been a real game changer actually, these aero pulleys. They've got a small bit of stainless steel, I don't know if you can see just in the middle there, and it's a really smooth action on the pulley. So what you do with these is start by going through the bottom, and there's a little hole there at the top, so you go through that little hole at the top, and then you go back through the opposite way like that. And yeah, as I say, that is a really nice smooth pulley on there. So then after that we go on with another, oh, drop it, another black bead, and this just helps to protect the knot obviously. And then after that we've got another one of the Termalinks. Another uni knot again on there. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Pull that almost tight, lubricate it, and then clip it on and pull that down tight. Okay, snip the tag end off. And that is your rig body done. So what I then do on the weight end is I use these roto bait clips. So what you would do with these is you push that all the way down like that, and then you can clip your lead into that bottom part, and then you push that silver bit all the way back up, and then that locks the lead into the bottom, and then it gives you this little eye at the top. So then I just put my Termalink onto there like that. Now if you want to as well, you can either run a bit of a rotten bottom from that Termalink to the top of the roto, or if you want to try and save the roto, you can run a rotten bottom from the bottom of the roto onto your weight if you're fishing snaggy ground. But yeah, that's the main section. So then onto the hook length. So grab another length of line, about the same length obviously, fraction shorter so that you get the right action on the pulley. Grab the power swivel, and then again a uni knot onto that one. One, 2, 3, I struggle to get 4 because I'm stingy and won't put much of a tag end on there. Okay, have that. Pull that down tight. Snip the tag end off. Right, and then now onto the perfection loop. So start off with the perfection loop. Again, I was going to try and show you, but you'll have to look up online to find a better video of how to tie the knot. So start off by getting your loop there, pop your hook on, then you go back round again, and then, so you essentially, I don't know how well you can see that, so let me try and show you. So start off with the hook off, and then you want to put one loop in the line, and you've got your tag end pointing down like that. Then you get your hook and slide it on, and pinch that hook in your thumb there. Now you grab your tag end, and you go round the front of your original loop. There's a few bits to hold here. So then you've got your original loop there, and then another loop in the middle. And then this last bit, you go back through the middle of those two, and then you just kind of have to hold that out the way, that tag end, for the moment. Now you can take your hook now, which is essentially on your smaller of your two loops, and then you pass it through that original first loop you made, and then you pull the smaller loop through the bigger one. And then at this point you can sort of dress the knot and make your actual loop a bit smaller if you want. But can you see there how the tag end is coming off horizontal from the line? That is essentially a good indication that you've done the knot right. So a bit of lubrication, pull that down, give the tag end a bit of a pull. You can see that. So it comes off horizontal, and that's the perfection loop. So then that's what you're left with. And that gives that circle hook nice room to move around like that, like I was saying earlier. So now let's go on to the dongle bit at the bottom. Okay, so the dongle part. So this is just a normal bit of braid off one of my spare reels. So what I tend to do to start with is just start by putting a few knots into the actual piece of braid itself, about every, I don't know, half a centimetre or something. Just want about 5 or 6 normal overhand knots in there, and that just helps to give the braid a bit of texture and then gives the bait something a bit better to actually bite into. Put a few of those in there. It's not going to be able to see that very well on the camera, but anyway, there's a handful of knots in there now. Now there's a few different things you can do with this. Some people will actually tie a clip onto the bottom of here so that you can actually like clip the rig down still, because obviously with the circle hook it's a bit more tricky to actually clip the rig down. Now I personally don't bother about clipping the rig down. I'm not trying to get huge distance with my casts. Often we're fishing only 20-30 yards out, so yeah, I don't really bother about clipping it down. So I just tend to leave the bottom of the braid as it is. With the length of it, what's that, probably about 4 or 5 centimetres. You just basically want to make this just a fraction longer than whatever length bait you're using. So once you've done that, the tricky part is actually getting it onto the hook itself. So you just have to try and essentially thread that braid on to the hook, just straight through the middle, and then okay. So it's down like that. And then what I do with this little extra bit up here, just turn it upside down and just get a lighter and just gently melt that down into a little blob, just so it's almost at that hook. And then, that is solid, that is not going to pull off there anytime soon. That is a really strong, secure dongle on that hook now. And again, it's nice and freely moving on there. So that is the whole rig, as I say earlier. So the power swivel onto the end of the Termalink, and then you can just clip that through there like that, and it just makes a really nice quick detachable hook length. So I guess the final most important part is baiting these up, because it is slightly different to how you would bait a normal pennel. Let's just get a bit of dummy bait. I'm not going to go and get any stinky crab or mackerel out of the freezer now. So I'll find a bit of dummy bait and I'll show you how I actually bait these up. Okay, so baiting these dongles up, how do you go about doing that? Now, one problem I found to start with is that when you put the bait on and you attach it to the dongle, I was finding a lot of the time that the bait was actually getting pulled off. Now I guess obviously fish coming up from the bottom and grabbing the dongle or grabbing the bait and then pulling it down off the braid, not actually getting the hook. So what I've done, which seems to be working really well at the moment to avoid that, is I take the dongle out of the way. These are our makeshift baits. So we've got a bit of squid and then your fish bait of choice, or whatever you are, carp, mackerel, bluey, whatever you're using. I start off by taking my squid or something hard, so anything like a bit of razor, squid works really well. Could use a worm or anything like that, just something which is a bit tougher. Pop that on first, and then get your dongle and pop it down the back of your squid or whatever you've decided to use. take your bait elastic. I don't know how well this is going to work on the cardboard, but you'll get the idea. So wrap that around there to start with. So then you've got your dongle just sort of roughly attached to your squid on the back there. And then you get your cocktail bait of choice, pop that onto your hook as well, and then you can pinch the two together. Now what I've found, just to give it a bit of extra security, is if you have your dongle just a little bit longer than your baits, then what you can do is actually wrap that around the bottom, and show you that a bit better, wrap that around the bottom like that, and it works really well. And that just really just helps to secure it on there. So let's bind that all together. Give that a good few wraps round. You're going to have to use your imagination here because obviously it's not the best presented. But then that is what you would essentially be left with. So you've got, it's really not showing up that great on the camera, apologies. But yeah, you've got your nice proud hook point there on your perfection loop, so it can still, that can still move around nice and easily. And then that dongle is running all the way down the back of your tougher bait, squid, razor, and then also on the other side it just comes up a little bit on the front. And yeah, I found that that really does help to secure the bait onto the hook. So yeah, apologies I'm not actually showing you with a real bit of mackerel, but take a look at my video from Arbroath and you'll see it with one of the WHA cod bombs on there, which should give you a bit of a better idea. But yeah, there we go. That is the pulley rig with a dongle on it. As I say, it's working really well for me at the moment, so I'm going to keep using it. Main reason for me was getting a higher return rate for the fish. So yeah, it's really good. It's also a really good hookup. Now, I'm sure you'll all know anyway, but being a circle hook, make sure you don't strike hard into the actual bite. You want to let that bite develop quite a lot. And then when you know the fish is really on there, if it hasn't already completely hooked itself, you just want to gently start reeling into the weight, and hopefully you should actually just pull that hook nicely into the scissors. If you give it a big strike and a big yank on the rod, then you'll find that you'll just pull the hook and the bait straight out of the mouth of the fish. So yeah, that's the only other bit of advice I can give you. Just try and be patient with the bites and let them develop well. But yeah, if you've got any questions on it, just pop them in the comments. If there's anything else you want to see around the rig, or if you've got any specific questions on how I've been using it or how I've made it up, which hasn't been shown in the video, again, just pop them in the comments. And yeah, hope you find it useful. Hopefully get back out again in the next couple of weeks. We're in a right lull of westerlies at the moment, which is just not producing any sea of any kind. So yeah, no fishing opportunities yet, but I think it's meant to pick up a bit towards the end of the week. So we'll see if we can get back out. But that's it for now. Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you again soon.